Hey guys, new day, new video. In this video I'm going to show you my custom cabinet built by 2manysynths in the Netherlands. My Behringer 2600 sits in a boring but user-friendly 19-inch rack, as you can see. There are several nice wooden cabinets you can find on the internet for the 2600, but most of them are made by users themselves, and either they don't ship to Europe or specifically to the Netherlands where I live. So I gave up the fact that my 2600 must live in such a boring rack. Until today, because I found a company who make nice wooden racks for a lot of synthesizers, but also for the 2600. How did I find this company? Well, for that we must go back to Superboot 21 in Berlin, where I came across the stand of 2manysynths. A guy named Arjan makes beautiful custom wooden cabinets for Eurorack, stands for synths, wooden panels for synthesizers, for Moog, Vetti and other. We soon find out that we both lived in the Netherlands. No, we both lived in Eindhoven. The surprise was bigger when we both found out that my studio and Arjan's workplace is literally 10 meters away from each other. So today we're going to take a look at Arjan's company. He will show us what he does, how he does it, and especially we are going to show, and I'm going to let you show, how he made my custom cabinet for my 2600. But before we are going up the street, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit subscribe, hit the bell and get notified when we upload a new video. So, let's go to Arjan.
Welcome, I'm Arjan from 2manysynths, a hobby which got out of hand quickly, as you all know, with synthesizers and Eurorack. And basically what I do, well, you're here for the 2600, my, as I call it, let me check, the Oak ARP 2600. So I made an oak overlay and an oak casing for the 2600, so that's why you are here. But what I do with this big machine and some other tools, and what you see here, these are all building packages for me, so they are no DIY kits, but building packages which I'll assemble later today for mainly Eurorack cases. That's what I do quite a lot. And since I have the tools, I can make overlays and I can make stands and everything for the synthesizers. Basically it's custom work with a little standard in it, so that enables me to make a lot of models. For example, what you see here, this is one of the, this is made for the Keystep Pro, which comes in front, and then we have 9U of Eurorack above with some bus boards from Modular Synth Lab and a Meanwhile power supply. But today we're going to show you a little bit about the 2600. So here we already have a few of the goodies. These are two of the black ones and a grey mini. One client insisted on having the grey mini. And I have the option to also, I simply buy these with Box or Thomann or Music Store. But the reason I buy them here is that I can make the overlay and the casing around it and send it as a total package. So that's why I do it like that. So I would suggest that we just do a few steps. It's not a DIY manual like how to do it yourselves, but if you can, please do. But I'm going to show you a little bit how I make it. One of the things I make is the overlay, which you see here. And especially if you, well, I have one here mounted as well. If you look closely, you see that all the original drawings and everything is engraved and laser cut. And what I use for that is this baby. And that's a big laser cutter. I can turn it on, maybe that's fun. So basically I have a veneer sheet prepared, and then the laser cuts all the holes exactly to the right size, and it engraves everything, so we have a complete layover. So that's what we do. So that's the overlay part. And for the woodwork, that's another story. So the woodwork, I use mainly panels of old floors. So I reuse old floors and I make them into oak again. At least I glue them together. And then I use the laser cutter again to make the outlines. And also to make the holes exactly on the place where I want them, and to make engravings so it all fits together. So I use dowels to mount this. So there are a few steps involved, and one is routing. So let's start with that. So the laser cutter has done its work already. So, get my tool. So now we have a cleaner edge, at least cut away. And then, as in all woodwork, it's just a lot of sanding and sanding and sanding. So let's do that as well. as a quick example, but then we have one side. And if we don't go back to the example I made already, there's this one. Basically, this is, well, it's the other side. It's one of the sides. And then the horizontal panels are already cut. Then what I do after sanding this as well is put some dowels in. And basically, these will be in when you get them. Or I assembled it, but I can also send it flat packed. And then the dowels just, not in that place. The dowels just fit in. And then it's firmly. That's basically the way it's constructed. Quite easy. Some screws, and then you have it ready. So that's the build around. And then to mount the synth in, to mount the Behringer in, we also need some holes here. This has been pre-mounted. A few of these. And again, here we have the dowels as well, so they all fit to place exactly. And because it's wood, it's always a little bit different, so I use a piece of veneer, the same veneer as I use for the overlay, to make sure that it's completely flat with the 2600 in it. So I tune all the cases before I send them out. So mounted as well. So this is now basically the enclosure as it is. I'm now putting the 2600 in as an example, but before I send this out, I'll sand everything again and again because it has to be super smooth. And if you select it, I can oil it with linseed oil or hard wax oil, and then I can make it any color, black or brown or the natural wood. The only thing with the enclosure, with the overlay actually, is that if you oil it black, then you won't be able to read it again. So for that, I would recommend a brown stain or maybe just the oak look. So let's get the 2600. I have one here. Fits exactly. And then, so this is when you have it flat on your desk. But if you want, of course, we have to flip it around then. So if you want to have it standing up, that's also possible. But then you have to mount the 2600 in the other direction. And then with the brass insert, we just made a few of these rack screws. we'll fix it. Just one as an example. And then you can have it like this. And the good thing with this is it's slightly elevated on the front. So if you have, again, a KeyStep Pro or another synth in front, you still have the space for the cables, and so it's not in the way of your sliders. And then I also have the option to make a Euro rack in front, which is a little bit higher then. So as you can see here, this one is slightly higher. And then I have, I think, a 4U Euro rack in front. But basically that's it. And with the enclosure, I'll make sure that it's a little bit deeper. I have to, of course, take the screws off. Let's do that a little bit more like this. That is a perfect fit. If you take the screws out, of course. And then it's a full overlay. And it might be good. I have a specific tape for that. Which is a well-removable 3M tape. And you can, if you want, tape it on the back. So I'll mount this to the overlay. So it stays super flat, but basically the screws itself already keeps it into place quite well. So that's the overlay for the 2600. So we've just been sanding it. Now we're remounting it before we're going to oil it. We're gonna oil it brown, because brown is a nice vintage brown. And I'll explain in a sec what I use for that. So and this is the final check. A quick sanding, especially on this edge. That all looks good. So next step is oiling. For that I use a satin wood oil. But it's based on linseed oil actually, with pigments. So there's no additives in it, which means that it doesn't dry in an hour, it dries in a few days. But it's a really, sustainable way of oiling it. It's from Denmark. There's a Linolie they're called, super nice company. And we're actually importing this as a distributor in the Netherlands and in Belgium. So we just use a fabric cloth to oil it. What's especially important with that, linseed oil can get warm when it's hardening out in a cloth, so not on the surface. So you really have to put it away with water, because otherwise there will be no more synth cases anymore, because then we have a burn here. So I'm oiling it like rough. So I just give it enough oil so the soak can really suck it up, and then I leave it for maybe 20 minutes until it's soaked up completely, and then I wipe away the excess oil, and then we get the best cover. So eventually it will become a little bit lighter than what we have here. Just make sure I touch every surface, and I'm a perfectionist, so also the inside. This looks really rough, but I am a perfectionist. And it works especially well with oak wood because that's really, you're gonna give accent on the grain of the wood. So every piece will be slightly unique and different. I'm also going to oil one in red later, maybe today, otherwise later this week. So like that, and then finally the outer surfaces. Oh la la. Super precise work, as you can see, like up. Right, so a lighter version. So what we're going to do is we use a clean cloth and we're just gonna wipe it clean. And you will see that where the grain is different, you will also get a different color a little bit. So this is a long grain. So here you see that it's more lighter. And here as well. This is also why it's important to sand it properly. But here we have an end grain. And here it becomes a little bit darker. So we can polish that a little bit more. So you see that every piece of wood makes it different. This one doesn't have really big grains. Some do. And this works as well on the overlay. So this vintage look on the overlay will look absolutely stunning. Don't think I have orders for an overlay in that specific finish. Most order it in like the Osmo hard wax oil and the natural look. But I'm going to make one for sure because it will look amazing. So, and then make sure that it's in the way it's going to be used. Standing up. And then especially check the surfaces extra, the visible surfaces. So there's no excess oil on it. So there we have it. We're going to place it in. We've been waiting for a few days for the oil to dry properly. And then it's just a question of you have a little bit of room in the screw, so you can position it just a little to make it fit as perfect as you want. I actually do like the color of the print on the bearing itself. Sort of the same vintage color. It's this brownish tint, which is the same as the color of the wood. It's actually a really nice match. And if you're fixing it yourselves, you don't need to fix it too tight. I mean, oh, 2 rings. In Dutch we say vast is vast. Fixed is fixed. Just hand fix it. Don't overstretch it. It's just holding it in place, so nothing special. So that's it. And then we have it. So one thing I noticed is that I have the how do you say, aluminum colored screws in. And I always put these in when oiling. But of course with a black synth on top, we need some nice black screws.
Well, that's it for this video. I want to thank Arjan for the hospitality and showing us all about his company. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time.